We've got the mayor of Johnston tonight. He's got to help me figure something out here. Welcome to My State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. It is always a pleasure to have you, and I don't mean to be cliche by that. With the growing audience and the passing, I met a beautiful lady in town today. She says, "I never miss the show." Like, thank you. Spread the word. It's a project in progress. So to our gubernatorial campaigns, and I'm having a hard time figuring this one out. This Pell thing yesterday is a puzzle. I can promise you, members of the press, the media, are all looking at each other going, what are we going to do with this guy? What the constituents do is anybody's guess. Joe Policina is the good mayor of Johnston. He was the MC at the event yesterday where Clay was introduced himself to the political community anyway. Joe is a good mayor. I trust some of his judgment. I can't wait to talk to him about this, and that comes up. Let's go to the rundown. Yeah, he was. No doubt about it. On this Pell issue, we'll continue in the interview portion of the broadcast, but this deserves its own rundown mention. Hey, it's only $1,500. No pay, comes with the territory. Really? I guess it does. Now there were three formally in the race for mayor in Providence, and this one, whoo boy, it makes what we've had to deal with look like child's play, seems to me. Alrighty, let's get to it. Lots to do. Politically drunk. I think the president was last night. No doubt about it. The headline covers all of these promises. In the State of the Union, Obama vows to expand opportunity with or without Congress. Yeah, so if you can't fight them, bypass them. I guess when it comes to the minimum wage, he's got his own ideas on this. He spoke from the rostrum.
In the coming weeks, I will issue an executive order requiring federal contractors to pay their federally funded employees a fair wage. And Tom Harkin and George Miller have a bill to fix that by lifting the minimum wage to $10.10. It's easy to remember, 10-10. This will help families. It'll give businesses customers with more money to spend. It does not involve any new bureaucratic program. So join the rest of the country. Say yes. Give America a raise. Give them a raise.
This is incredible. The president now is encouraging the business community to change their business models. He spoke about how women make 77 cents on the dollar compared to men, but offered no plan to change that. He did a lot of rallying. He did a lot of smiling. He was very comfortable. He's had himself a good time. But really all he did was set kind of a playbook for the Democratic base to be smooth in 2014 and for the elections. There was nothing tangible. And by the way, this executive order, it's going to end up being for employees of contractors to the federal government. Okay, it's a limited move. What he didn't mention at all last night were the problems and the functional issues with Obamacare, which is his legacy situation. Look, the State of the Union is supposed to do, in the old days at least, the State of the Union was kind of a status check on where we are. And of course, there's subjectivity to it, but can you give us some kind of a report card on where the country is? Instead, it's turned in to be a rally. There was a rally last night. He had fun, but he was politically drunk. Sober up, Mr. President. Next item. Someone has to say something, seriously, and we're going to talk to Joe Policina about this when we bring him on. Headlines out the wazoo here for Pell's announcement for governor. That's the Journal. The Journal, being a very good local paper, gets right to the issues. The outside world of media is looking at it very differently. Check out this headline. The political heir and the Kwan spouse runs for governor. So it depends on perspective, right? Look, this is a very sensitive subject already. This young man is in the race now, and I'm going to treat him like any other candidate. And if a candidate is acting weird, I'm going to say so. His name is worthy of coverage, debate, and questions. And Sean Daly from Eyewitness News asked a perfect question, and watch this really strange response.
Do you think you would be kicking off your political career running for governor if your name were Clay Smith?
I believe in public service and making a difference, and I believe that the next governor of the state, and as governor of this, as the next governor of the state, I will be able to bring a fresh approach.
He asked you about your name. He asked you about the legacy and how you're going to deal with that. He's asking whether you have attributes worthy of being a governor if you weren't Clay Pell. He didn't ask for some Robotron response that makes us all think that the cylinder is not there. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm beginning to wonder if, let me tell you something. He's obviously a bright young man. He's obviously accomplished in a lot of ways. Let me tell you, if we don't have a consummate communicator in the governor's office this time around, we're screwed. Screwed. And I want to know what's going on here. Somebody's got to say something to this young man, because he can't run doing that, and he certainly can't govern. Next item. $1,500. That's all it is. Here's the headline, Providence Journal. Gordon Fox to pay ethics fine. What are you going to do? It's part of being who you are and what you did, and, it's an easy thing to respond to when asked.
My mistake, we'll chalk it up to that, and if these things never look good, it's the reality of the business we're in. When you're working in a part-time legislature, you also have private income.
Come on, will you, Gordon, for crying out loud. It's the second time he's had to pay a state ethics fine. This one is for his work between 2007 and 2009 as a lawyer closing mortgages for the Providence Economic Development Partnership. He was subcontracting during those years, and he went, oh, geez, I didn't really know that I had to report that as a subcontractor. The reason he was a subcontractor is that he didn't have to tell everybody he was doing the work. You look at the glass half full or empty depending on your perspective. Second ethics fine. But the big thing about Gordon Fox, nice guy that he is that the big issue is what he did to dupe the legislature on 38 studios. And you know what? There ain't enough money in the world to fine him on that one. He still hasn't been held accountable. Next item. The Providence Journal reports that there's a new mayoral candidate. Solomon kicks off mayoral campaign. That was today, and the team here is right on it. They've got a little clip from Michael Solomon's presentation announcing his candidacy today.
Together, we have overcome a fiscal crisis. And if we continue to work together, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As a small business owner in Providence, I know that we need to grow our economy today, not tomorrow.
Okay, yep. Everyone's kind of got that figured out, that it's an economic challenge, whether it's the city or whether it's the state. Now, there's 3 candidates that we have here announced already, all of whom have appeared on this program: Brett Smiley, Jorge Alorza, and Michael Solomon. Those are 3. Rumored still to be in this mix are a guy by the name of Lauren Adrain, who's worked on the Board of Higher Education, John Lombardi, the state representative from Federal Hill, and a guy you may have heard of, Buddy Cianci. Now, Buddy has had some health issues and was recently diagnosed with cancer and has taken some time off and is doing chemotherapy. But even in his announcement about his illness, he was talking about looking forward to a fun summer and fall, which tells me he's running. I expect him, if he returns to good health, to leave his radio post adjacent to me on WPRO and run for office. And I think he's good for 25–30% of the electorate as a lock. And so the more people that are in this race, the better the chance for Buddy Cianci to return for a 3rd time to City Hall. Like him or not, like that news or not, that's the political reality. I've talked to too many people too close to Buddy who say that he's not only thinking about running, he's planning on running. So Michael Solomon, hurry up and build your base, because you're going to get very crowded very quickly. And finally, you think we had a problem back in December of 2007? Have you seen this? The headlines and the video are incredible. Nightmare. Can you imagine sitting in this? Oh my. First of all, if you're prone to anxiety, that's a freak show. You can't get anywhere. Could you imagine if an ambulance tried to get through there? Thousands and thousands and thousands of students waylaid, 18 hours stuck, people running out of gas, all because they had what, an inch and a half of snow? Look at how tight they are jammed up. This is a roadway that had nobody on it, but look at the lack of snow. So the next time you start beating up on our own DOT, and they used to deserve it, they've done better lately, and you think that we got problems, think Atlanta, and you'll feel better. When we come back, Mayor Joe Policina, he emceed Clay Pell's thing last night. He's got to help me with this. Stay with us.
Practice, practice, practice. You don't have to be the loudest voice. You just have to speak for those without a voice at all.
Yeah, listen, I thought that was one of the better moments that Clay Pell had in his announcement yesterday. And around the corner, you might have seen Joe Policina, the good mayor of Johnston, who emceed that event. The headline last night in Boston, Michelle Kwan's husband to run for Rhode Island governor. Of course, Clay Pell opened up. We ran that clip last night introducing himself as Michelle Kwan's husband. While the crowd laughed, I know you did, Joe. You better stop doing that too, because you got to get your own identity. It's good to see you.
Pleasure to see you.
We'll see if we can't fit in a couple of Johnston issues, because this guy is one of the better mayors. There's a good group of mayors that have been running this state for now, running their communities in the state for quite some time, and Joe's one of that crowd that has really kind of from the middle of government, I think, kind of kept the thing together. Well, how did you get hooked up with the Clay?
Well, I met him probably about 5 months ago, and I heard he was interested in running, and I wanted to meet him. Because quite frankly, I wasn't really content, satisfied with the candidates that are in the race now on the Democratic side. And I met with him. I met with him about 2.5 hours. He listened intently. I told him my perspective on the state, important to make sure that the cities and towns stay financially strong. He agreed, and we met probably twice after that. And that's when I decided I would support him. I think he has some good ideas. I think when he comes out with his plan, I think people are going to be satisfied. I know people said, well, he's young, he's new to, but you know.
I was pretty smart when I was 32.
No.
I'm being funny, but I was actually. I was no smarter than I am right now. Maybe more seasoned now than then. So I don't blame. 32's fine.
I think it's a great age. I think that age has nothing to do with it. Quite frankly, I think he's very bright.
It has a little bit to do with it, but
well,
look, let me cut to it. There's something strange going on here. The guy is catatonic.
I don't think so. I totally disagree with you. You know,
Did you see that clip?
I did.
And there are many others like it. I mean, my friend Matt Allen, who I know you enjoy, interviewed him yesterday on with his radio interview after this thing. Spoke to him for 4 minutes, this close, and he looked the other way, couldn't even make eye contact. We need a communicator in this state, Joe.
Well, we had a communicator, I think, when we had Governor Kacheri, but quite frankly, Governor Kacheri was the one who cut all the cities and towns, and in my opinion, put places like Central Falls in bankruptcy, with the general revenue sharing. We've had that conversation before, we've spoke about it many times. However, I think people respond differently, I really do. I think Clay Pell is very articulate. I think he's bright. I really do. And I think when you see a side of him, we all know a lot of people don't respond. They're not comfortable, maybe perhaps in front of a camera. But as long as they can do the job, I really don't care how they respond.
Listen, it's early in the campaign. So when he sits this close to me, and I'm told he will,
yes,
I may move to another place. But he's not going to get away with looking past me and not answering questions, and he shouldn't get away with the press in this notion that highly functional but not communicatively functional doesn't fly. Leadership. Look, one of the reasons why you've done so well as the mayor of Johnston is that you are an articulate leader. You're able to break down concepts. You're able to explain yourself. You can weave a story. You can show a vision. You've done that. If you're going to tell me that that's not incumbently important in running for high office in the state, I have to respectfully tell you, my friend, you're whistling Dixie.
No, it is. But let me say this. I think he's just starting out. I haven't seen anything that...
Just starting out, he's running for governor, Joe.
No, I understand that.
He's not dog catcher.
I understand that, but you understand, obviously it's his first bout with the media, and some people, maybe they get nervous with the media. I think that he has the intellect. I think he has the ideas. You're going to see his plan come out in the next couple of weeks. I think he's got a great plan for Rhode Island, and as I said before, out of the candidates now, that I'm looking at, I think he's the one that that can bring the state forward. I mean, listen, you know, we're in trouble. You hear them; they're worried about banning plastic bags. The state's going to collapse pretty soon if we don't do something and get companies in here. And the only way you can do that is by not so much, I don't want to use the word deregulating, but enough is enough where you have to jump through a hoop that big to get your business here. And that's a whole nother show we can talk about.
So what you're telling me is that you gave him all of these concerns, and he what, wrote them down, said, I'm with you?
No.
What's his municipal plan going to look like?
Well, I mean, I think he should obviously come out with that. I don't think I have the right. I have ideas, what we spoke about, what he wants to do, and I think it's unfair for me to say it on your show.
Probably.
I think he has to come out. But I'm telling you.
Nice try on my part, though.
Good try. Well, that's what you're here to do. But I really think that he's going to do a good job. I have. Let me say this too. You know, he's very compassionate about the state. He's very dedicated when he takes on an issue. And you know, as I said, people respond differently.
How do you know? You've met him 3 times.
No, but you know what? I've had plenty of phone conversations with him. I mean, we met more than 3 times. We sat down actually and discussed what I want to see for the future of the state. Not that I'm anybody special, but as a mayor, I think I should have some say in you know, like for instance, a lot of people, you know, they didn't like Chafee. One thing about Governor Chafee, he was concerned about the cities and towns. And I'm going to tell you, Dan, you know, Johnston lost starting in 2010, lost $5 million in general revenue sharing. I want to say Providence lost $80 million. And if you multiply that times 4 years, that's a lot of money. And that was just like pulled the rug from under us.
There's no doubt that the local cities and towns have suffered hardship, perhaps past what I think is pragmatic. When we come back, why not Raimondo? Why not Tavares, fellow mayor? Stay with us. You can see Mayor Joseph Policina as the MC of this event at the Convention Center yesterday in introducing Clay Pell. By the way, why did they tap you to do that?
I don't know.
You did a nice job, but is there a reason?
First of all, I was shocked and honored that he would choose me. And as I said before, I believe in him. I think he's going to do a good. I know he's going to do a good job for the state. So when they did ask me if I would speak, first I thought I was just going to speak, and they said, "We want you to be the MC." I said, "Yeah, sure." And I was quite frankly, I was honored. I was very honored, and it was a privilege for me to be there. And as I said, I'm looking forward to getting him elected as our governor. Talk to me about the other 2 candidates. Interesting, Angel Tavares is also who I would consider one of those guys who's been a productive mayor in this state. He's, you know, the big city of Providence is maybe a little bit off what the Johnstons and North Providences and Cumberlands and Smithfields and Westerlies and Lincolns. That's kind of in Pawtucket. It's a little bit more synergy with the smaller community, Cranston, Allen Fung, maybe Scott Avedisian. But why not Tavares? He's a peer. Honestly, I don't see eye to eye with Mr. Tavares. As you know, I stopped the rescues going to Providence. Last legislative session, he had one of his reps put a bill in that would create a water district and mysteriously left Johnston out. And when he was questioned, basically the rep had told my rep, well, my mayor really doesn't like your mayor. I mean, that's like high school confidential, you know, like, what are you, crazy? So, quite frankly, when you look at what's going on in Providence, I have friends of mine that are police officers. They are short probably 80 to 100 police officers. Obviously, a police officer's life is in danger every day. But I think theirs is exacerbated by having a shortage. And quite frankly, when you see what's going on in the city, shootings, beatings, stabbings, I don't want to see that turn into the city become a state like that. So, quite frankly, I will not support Angel Tavares.
Wow!
No, I'm being honest with you.
Hey, listen.
Have your people put a bill in to basically it not only would raise all of the water rates throughout the state, but when it came time to every community to have a district, a say, Johnston was exempt, and he expects to get votes out of Johnston. Okay. And I'm going to make that a public issue as we go along. You just did, do you get the same? Does Gina get the same wrath? No, I mean, you know, listen. I have some difference of opinions with what she wants to do, and I, you know, Gina's she's very bright, she's very articulate. There's no doubt about it. But at this point in time, you know, I really got to know Clay Pell, and speaking to him, and I felt that he had a compassion to ensure ensure that the cities, or I should say ensure that the cities remain financially solid.
Some of the local mayors have talked to me over time about the Treasurer Gina Raimondo, and they didn't necessarily like the approach when it came to the municipal side of the pension reform. Does that have something to do with your misgivings?
No. To be honest with you, I think...
Not that she had legislative or statutory control over that.
No, I understand. I just think that the cities and towns, like, for instance, right now, they're talking about this pension deal. You know, with
Crazy.
With
the courts involved.
Yeah, her Honor Taft Carter. But I think we were wishing that somebody from the municipal government should be on board. And I think one of the mayors or town administrators or town managers should be on board to at least because
what a mediation?
Well, yeah, because what's going to happen?
There shouldn't be a mediation.
Well,
they either vote constitutional
right.
or not and kick it back to the legislature.
You're 1,000% correct. But while they're mediating now, you know, if it comes out where...
Oh, so if they're going to have a bad mediation, might as well throw you guys in?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because we could say, wait a minute, what's this going to cost us? And no one's bringing that up. What's it going to cost the cities and towns if it changes? But we're going to see, obviously, we're playing it by ear.
All right.
But as I said, I mean, I have no issue with Gina. You know, she seems like a nice person, but I suppose Clay Pell. Absolutely.
All right, well, you'll come
You're
back.
going to be pleasantly surprised.
I hope so.
Pleasantly surprised. Thank you.
Mayor Joe Pell.
Thank you so much.
All right, kiddo. Your state of mind when we come back. Stay with us. Frankly, you learn something new every day. I didn't realize that the Johnston-Providence mayoralty rivalry was so, we'll have to ask Angel about that at some juncture. Your state of mind is important to us. Feedback, your surprise, or whatever, at 228-1886 on voicemail. Leave one state of mind at myritv.com is email, and Dan Yorke Show. Twitter and Facebook. Here's a voicemail, a suggestion to us.
Hi, Dan. I'd like to see you do a story about the unfair sales tax on pet grooming and pet services in this state. They take the sales tax off of things like alcohol, and they put it on a service. It's labor intense. When you get your car done, you pay tax on pots, not on labor.
You know, he's right about that. It might seem like a little bit of an off, like what? Truth is, our sales tax structure is so all over the map, we got to fix it. I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll be here at 7:30 on MyRI TV. Good night.